Okay, today we're going to be making a fence out of staples. Basically, you just pop a little piece of this off of here. We end up with, and then you take it, bend one side a little bit, so you get that thing. Take the other side, break it off. And that gives you, when you break them all apart, you get these nice little pieces. And for the cross members, just take this other side and break it off. But because I love 10-hour long videos, I already broke off enough for the section of fence that I'm going to be building. Now I just put a piece of tape here to hold these in place before I glue them together and put the fencing on. So, and then the fence isn't that hard to make, it's just time consuming because a million little tiny pieces. So basically you just take a nice little thing. I usually line it up with the bottom of the tape and then stick it on just like that. Now make sure your tape, it doesn't matter if you touch it, make it less sticky, it just makes it easier to pull the fence off when you're done. But just boop, and then just line it up like you would a real fence. I think that one is an old one. And just make sure they fit together kind of tight. I mean, they don't got to be perfect, but the closer you get them together, the easier gluing them together will be. And once you get a couple started, you'll be able to follow the line, and you'll see that it gets easier the longer you make it. But this is the cheapest and I don't know, best looking end scale fence that I've seen when you're poor like me and all you have is what's on hand. Because I would love to have a locomotive or scenery that I didn't have to spend 9 hours on. But if I did have that locomotive that started right out of the package, or the scenery that didn't take 9 hours to build, that means I probably spent a lot of money on it. And if I spent a lot of money on it, I'd get annoyed when the cats jump up on the train table and break it, or the kids are fooling around and throw a bouncy ball and poop, break it. But at least with this, it's not that big of a deal because I didn't spend that much money on it. And besides, it gives me something to do. But you just keep building your fence till you get the length that you want. This is going to be a section of the replacement fence for when the dog chased the cat into the kids' room and the cat decided that he was going to jump up on the train table for his life. Because the dog, who I believe is sleeping on a chair right now he's not supposed to be sleeping on, because he pulled the blanket off of it. But yeah, this is all, the fence isn't that hard to make. The tricky part comes when you're trying to glue it together. I mean, you probably could solder this together to make it even stronger, but I like gluing it for the simple fact that it's a little bit more flexible, and if your train table surface isn't flat like mine because you made it with plaster of Paris and cardboard and paper mache, because I didn't want to wait 9 years and spend $900,000 on Woodland Scenics stuff that basically you're just pretty much paying for a name. I know people are going to get mad. Because I called out Woodland Scenics. But I'll try to hurry this up a little bit, so you don't have to listen to me yammer on about nothing. Because I have no friends. I sit here all day at the computer because I have to be on call for my kids. In case the school needs me to come down and pick somebody up. And I live in the middle of nowhere, so. Well, it's not really the middle of nowhere. It's just a tiny town close to New York. And because I'm joining this up with another fence, I'm taking this end piece off, and I'll run the fencing itself a little bit past there so I can cut a little flap off so I can glue it to the old fence. It's still on the train table. I was going to say, oh, I forgot about that, but that was an easy fix. It'd have been harder once I glued it all together. It's a good thing I thought about that. There won't be no long intros into this video. It's just a video about making a fence. That's why you're here. That's what we're doing. Maybe I'll make another video later about how I made the lawnmower dude. Which, I did post him on eBay, by the way. Just as a joke, because my kid is annoying. And she's always telling me, you should sell that stuff. Well, you know what? As she sleeps till noon, I will be here making a fence. Yes. Okay, we're almost done. One more little section. No, I know I had comments on my other thing about, oh, I should kill the cat, put it outside. The cat's 14 years old, and he's running from a 2-year-old dog. Because the dog's an idiot and does not realize he's like 12 times bigger than the cat. The cat's old, the cat's fat. He just wants to live. Okay. So, that's part 1 is done. That's why we use the tape, because it'll hold it all in place until I put the first layer of glue on, which would be this stuff right here, which I don't know which way is up because I think the camera's mounted upside down, but I use this for the first thing, and basically what I do, pull the cap off, take a nice little card, and I'll just put a little bit on the paper. Take my nice little toothpick, get a little on the very end of the toothpick, and just every joint put a tiny little bit of glue. Now, if you get it onto the tape, the other plus side of the tape is where if you get this glue onto this tape, it'll just peel right off. I don't know why that is. It's just regular old cheap Scotch tape from, I think it was from the dollar store. But it's actual Scotch brand tape if I can. Just poop. The glue does not stick to it. Well, it does stick to it, but I think the backing of the stuff just comes off the plastic. It'll leave a little gray film, but it's easy to peel off. And if you get a little bit too much at the joint, it's not that big of a deal, because it's going to stay wet long enough that when you put on the second blob of glue and put the fencing on, it'll give something for the fencing to stick to. And I hope the way that I have the camera mounted, you can actually see what I'm doing. And then if they're a little bit separated, just press them together for a second, because it'll move for a little bit. And then smooth it out a little bit if you want. Count to 30. Do whatever, because now it comes the fun part where it's the waiting. Sing a song. Use your tweezers to get that little piece of hair out that you don't know where it came from. Okay. And then, I don't know. I used this on the very first fence, and it works rather well, but it takes 24 hours to cure, and I don't want to wait that long. And that dries rubbery, so it gives the fence more flexibility than this CA, well, than the super glue does. But the super glue, as I find, when it gets old, doesn't want to stick like it used to when it was new. Or, I don't know why, when you get down to half a bottle, it seems like it works not as good as it does when you have a new bottle. And yes, I do shake it before I use it. So, no, I don't know why. And then, let's go back over the whole thing with a little bit of glue so you can attach the fence. Because the fence, the actual screening, this stuff right here, I got from Walmart. I got about 3 square yards of the stuff, and it cost me like $5, I think. That'll give me enough fence to, if I built a scale model United States steel, 2 size, would give me enough fence to go around it and build all the freaking catwalks and everything inside of it. And I'm running out of glue, so I need a little bit more. I hope the 2 people that actually watch this video enjoy it. Oh, that's way too much. And this comes the fun part. That's okay. You'll see what I'm talking about when I go to fix that later. As I say, the glue comes right off the stuff. Okay, that's probably good. Now, I cut this piece beforehand, wherever I just put it back down at, and I make sure that one side is flat. It doesn't matter about the other side. You'll see why in a little bit. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect, but if you get it relatively straight before you put it on, then you can just line it up. Oh, I see where I forgot glue. It doesn't help if I don't put glue on the very, very end. Very helpful tip. Put glue on the very, very end. Because if you don't, and you go to peel this up later, it's not going to come up the way you want. And then when it doesn't come up, it sticks. And it's annoying. And it's basically just a waste of your time. But just line the top up. Stick the fencing to the tape too. Try not to stick it too hard because you're going to have to peel it off. Son of a bitch. And sometimes it sticks to your finger. Enjoy. And I don't know who the hell is calling me from Florida.
Call from Rockland SL.
Okay, we'll just answer it. Hang up because it's probably a telemarketer. And I'm not buying what you're selling. And I made a mistake with this little fence. Because I cut it right to size and it's too late now. But it's going to be a little hole in the corner of the fence. But you know what? We'll put a little kid climb to the corner of the fence that we'll roll it back a little bit when we put it on the trim table. The joys of having 10,000 of those little people from China. And no. I know how that came out. And that's not what I meant. And just go over some of the spots where you think the fencing's not sticking as well as it should. And just run lightly with your finger. As long as you don't stop your finger won't stick to anything. And it'll spread the glue out. Eventually, you have a nice little fence that looks like a fence.